My husband disappeared for the entire weekend. No calls, no replies, nothing. When he walked in Monday morning, he shrugged and said, "You don't need to know where I go." I said, "Fair enough." Then I handed him a folder containing hotel timestamps and photos from the private investigator he didn't know I hired. I'm 35, and until this past weekend, I thought my marriage was just going through a rough patch. My husband and I have been together for 7 years, married for 5. We met through mutual friends at a barbecue, dated for 2 years before I proposed. The first few years of marriage were good, not perfect, but solid. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our plans for the future. Things started changing about 6 months ago. He became distant, started working late more often. His phone was suddenly password protected when it never had been before. When I'd ask about his day, I'd get one-word answers. Fine, busy, tired. I tried talking to him about it multiple times, suggested couples counseling. He'd say we were fine, that I was being paranoid, that he just needed space. The space thing became his favorite excuse for everything. Didn't want to have dinner together. He needed space. Didn't want to talk about our problems. He needed space. Spent 3 hours in the bathroom with his phone. He needed space. I'm not stupid. I knew something was wrong. But I wanted to trust him. I wanted to believe that maybe he was just stressed about work or going through something personal and that we'd get through it together like we always had. Then came this past Friday. I got home from work around 6 p.m. The house was empty, which wasn't unusual. I figured he was working late again. I made myself dinner, watched some TV, texted him around 8 p.m., asking when he'd be home. No response. I called him at 9 p.m., straight to voicemail. By 11 p.m., I was starting to worry. I texted his friends asking if they'd heard from him. They all said no. I called his mom, trying not to sound too panicked, asking if he'd mentioned any plans. She said she hadn't talked to him in a few days. I barely slept Friday night. Saturday morning, I woke up to 0 messages, 0 missed calls. I called his phone every hour, voicemail every single time. I drove to his office, closed for the weekend, obviously. I went to our usual coffee shop, the gym he goes to, the mall he likes, nothing. Saturday afternoon, I filed a missing persons report. The police officer who took my statement asked if we'd had any fights recently. I said we'd been having problems, but nothing that would make him just disappear. He asked if his car was missing. I checked the garage. Yeah, it was gone. He asked if any of his belongings were missing. I checked his closet. Some clothes were gone, his overnight bag, his toiletries. The officer gave me this look, this knowing, pitying look. "Ma'am, it doesn't sound like he's missing. It sounds like he left." He wouldn't just leave without telling me. People do it all the time. Give it a few days. He'll probably turn up. I went home feeling humiliated. The police officer thought I was some clueless wife whose husband had obviously left her. Maybe I was. Saturday night, I did something I'm not proud of. I went through our bank statements, our credit card transactions, anything I could find online. I found a charge from 2 weeks ago at a hotel downtown, $347. Then another one from 3 weeks before that, a different hotel, $289. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through more statements. I found 4 hotel charges over the past 3 months, all downtown hotels, all on nights he'd said he was working late or out with friends. Sunday morning, I made a decision. I called a private investigator. I found one online who advertised discreet marital investigations. We met at a coffee shop Sunday afternoon. I showed him the hotel charges, told him about the disappearance, gave him my husband's car make and model, his license plate, his photo. "I can't make any promises," he said, "but if he surfaces, I'll document it." "How long will this take?" "Could be hours, could be days. Depends on if he comes back and where he goes." I paid him a $1,500 retainer, signed a contract, went home and waited. Sunday night was hell. I kept checking my phone every 5 minutes. No messages, no calls, nothing. Monday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. after maybe 2 hours of sleep. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. At 7:43 a.m., I heard a car pull into the driveway. I looked out the window. His car. He was back. I stayed at the kitchen table and waited. I heard his key in the door, heard him come in, close it, drop his bag. He walked into the kitchen, saw me sitting there, and barely reacted. "Morning," he said, like he'd just come back from a grocery run. "Where were you?" "Out." "Out where?" "For an entire weekend without calling, without responding to any of my messages." I needed to clear my head. You needed to clear your head. I filed a missing persons report. He rolled his eyes. Actually rolled his eyes. That's so dramatic. I'm obviously fine. You didn't answer your phone for 3 days. My phone died. For 3 days? I forgot my charger. You couldn't borrow one? Couldn't use a hotel phone to call me? He grabbed a mug from the cabinet and poured himself coffee. You're being really controlling right now. Controlling? I was worried about you. You filed a police report because I took a weekend for myself. That's controlling. Where were you? He turned to face me, leaned against the counter, took a sip of coffee. You don't need to know where I go. Something in his voice, this casual dismissiveness, this complete lack of concern for what I'd been through, made everything crystal clear. Fair enough, I said. I stood up, walked to the home office, and grabbed the folder I'd prepared. The private investigator had emailed me photos late Sunday night with a note. He checked into a hotel downtown around 4 p.m. Friday. Wasn't alone. Documented everything per your request. I'd printed everything. 23 photos total. Timestamps on each one. I walked back to the kitchen and placed the folder on the counter in front of him. What's this? He asked. Open it. He set his coffee mug down and opened the folder. I watched his face as he looked at the first photo, him getting out of his car in a hotel parking lot. Friday, 4:17 p.m. His expression didn't change. Second photo, him walking into the hotel lobby with a woman I didn't recognize. Friday, 4:24 p.m. His jaw tightened slightly. Third photo, him and the woman kissing in the hotel lobby. Friday, 4:31 p.m. His confidence evaporated instantly. His face went white. His hands started shaking. Where did you get these? Private investigator. I hired him Sunday. He tracked you down pretty quickly. He flipped through the rest of the photos. There were more. Them going up to a hotel room. Them leaving together Saturday morning. Them having breakfast at a cafe. Them going back to the hotel Saturday afternoon. Them leaving together Sunday morning. This is illegal, he said, but his voice was weak. Actually, it's not. You were in public places. No expectation of privacy. You had me followed. You disappeared for an entire weekend without a word. Yeah, I had you followed. That seemed like the logical next step after filing a police report you made me feel stupid for filing. He closed the folder and pushed it away. It's not what it looks like. It looks like you spent the weekend at a hotel with another woman. We're just friends. Friends who kiss in hotel lobbies. It was a goodbye kiss. A friend kiss. A friend kiss that lasted 11 seconds. I have the timestamp. He picked up his coffee mug, hands still shaking. You're twisting everything. Who is she? No one. A coworker. What's her name? That's not important. It's important to me. You don't need to know. I think I do, considering you spent a weekend with her in a hotel while I was worried you were dead in a ditch somewhere. He slammed the mug down on the counter. Coffee splashed over the side. You want to know the truth? Fine. I've been seeing her for 3 months. I needed time to figure out what I want. I took this weekend to decide. And what did you decide? I asked. I don't know yet. I stared at him. You don't know if you want to stay married to me or leave me for your coworker. It's complicated. It's really not. You're either committed to this marriage or you're not. You're not giving me space to think. Space, I repeated. You took an entire weekend. How much more space do you need? This is exactly why I'm confused, he said. You're so intense, so demanding. Everything is always about what you need. What I need? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I need my husband to not disappear for a weekend with another woman. See? You're making this about you. I stared at him. This man I'd married 5 years ago. This stranger standing in my kitchen, defending his affair, making me feel crazy for being hurt by it. Get out, I said quietly. What? Get out of my house. It's our house. It's my house, I said. My name is on the mortgage. I bought it before we got married. Get your stuff and get out. You can't kick me out. Watch me. You're serious? You've got 1 hour to pack whatever you need. After that, I'm changing the locks. This is insane. What's insane is you thinking I'd just accept you cheating on me. 1 hour. He stood there for a moment, like he was waiting for me to back down. I didn't. Update 1. He left. Took 2 suitcases worth of clothes and essentials. Kept saying I was overreacting, that we should talk about this, that I was making a huge mistake. I didn't respond. I just watched him pack. He left at 9:47 a.m. I changed the locks by 2 p.m. My phone started blowing up around noon. His mother called me 4 times. I didn't answer. His sister texted me. You need to calm down and talk to him like an adult. I blocked the number. The private investigator called me around 3 p.m. I heard from my associate that your husband left with luggage. Are you satisfied with the investigation? More than satisfied, thank you. I'll send you the final invoice. I have all the photos and timestamps in a secure file if you need them for legal purposes. I'll probably need them. I'm filing for divorce. I figured. Good luck. I'm sorry it turned out this way. Yeah, I said, me too. I called a divorce attorney that afternoon. Had a consultation scheduled for Wednesday morning. I spent the rest of Monday in a weird fog, making calls, changing passwords, canceling credit cards he had access to, removing him from my bank accounts. All the practical stuff you have to do when your marriage implodes. Update 2. He showed up Tuesday evening. I saw his car pull up and didn't open the door. He knocked, rang the doorbell, knocked again. I sat on the couch and ignored it. He called my phone. I declined. He called again. I declined. Again. Finally, he left. An hour later, he came back with his mother. They both knocked. His mother yelled through the door, "We need to talk about this. You can't just throw away a marriage." I opened the door, stood in the doorway, and didn't let them in. "You have his stuff?" I asked. "He doesn't have anywhere to go," his mother said. "That's not my problem anymore. You're his wife." "Not for long. I have a meeting with my attorney tomorrow." My husband started crying. "Please, can we just talk? Just the two of us?" "What's there to talk about? You cheated. You lied. You made me think you were missing. You showed zero remorse. What conversation could we possibly have?" "I made a mistake." "You made a choice," I said. "Multiple choices. Over 3 months. People make mistakes in marriages. That's what counseling is for." "I suggested counseling 3 months ago," I said, "when you first started feeling distant. You said we didn't need it, remember?" He didn't answer. "That's what I thought. You didn't want counseling because you were already cheating. You just wanted me to stop asking questions." His mother stepped forward. "My son made a mistake, but marriage is about forgiveness." "Marriage is also about fidelity," I said, "about trust, about not disappearing for a weekend with another woman. He violated all of that." "You're being cruel." "I'm being done. There's a difference." I closed the door, locked it, and listened to them knock for another 5 minutes before they left. Update 3. Wednesday morning, I met with my attorney. I brought the investigator's file. She looked through everything, made notes, asked questions about our finances, our assets, whether we had kids. "We don't," I said. "Thank God." "This is pretty straightforward," she said. "With documented infidelity and the house in your name, you're in a strong position. Do you want to pursue alimony?" "No, I just want this over with." "He might ask for it." "Let him. You have proof he was cheating. That affects his claim. It does in this state." "Good. I'll draft the papers. Should have them ready by the end of the week." The papers were served to him at his mother's house Friday afternoon. I know because he called me 17 times in 30 minutes. I didn't answer any of them. He texted, "We need to talk before this goes any further." I responded, "Talk to your attorney." He called again. I blocked his number. Update 4. His attorney contacted mine the following week. They wanted to negotiate. My attorney called me. "He's willing to admit the affair if you'll agree to joint custody of the house." "Joint custody of the house?" I said. "We don't have kids." "Sorry, wrong terminology. He wants to split the proceeds if you sell the house." The house was mine before the marriage. He's arguing that he contributed to mortgage payments and home improvements. "He paid maybe 30% of the mortgage," I said. "I have bank records. And the improvements were a new couch and some paint. They're asking for half. I'm not giving him half the house. I'll let them know." They went back and forth for 2 weeks. We finally settled. He got 15% of the current equity in the house, roughly $30,000. I kept the house. We split our joint savings account 50-50. He kept his car. I kept mine. No alimony, either way. The divorce was finalized in 90 days. I signed the papers and moved on. Final update. It's been 4 months since that Monday morning when he walked in like nothing had happened. The divorce was finalized last month. I haven't spoken to him since the day I kicked him out. All communication went through attorneys. I heard through mutual friends that he's still with the coworker. They apparently moved in together pretty quickly. Good for them, I guess. The house feels different now. Better. I redecorated, changed things, made it mine instead of ours. I started dating again a few weeks ago. Nothing serious, just getting back out there. It feels strange, but good. Someone asked me recently if I regret hiring the private investigator, if I think it was an invasion of privacy or too extreme. Honestly, no. Without those photos, I'd be the controlling, paranoid wife who overreacted to her husband taking a weekend for himself. He'd be the victim of my jealousy and trust issues. The evidence made it impossible for him to rewrite history. I'm 35, divorced, and starting over. It sucks. But it sucks a lot less than staying with someone who thought so little of me that he could disappear for a weekend, lie to my face, and expect me to just accept it. The house is quiet now, but it's honest.